That's me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Village of Westport Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, November the 5th, and we are beginning at 5 p.m. Called this meeting to order.
We are guests on the shared traditional land of the Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and Anishinaabe people, where they built their homes and raised their families. We appreciate these lands for the food, water, air, plants, trees, and medicines they give us. We value the land by swimming and boating, working, camping, and exploring the forests.
Thank you. And takes us to item number 3, which is the adoption of the agenda, and it's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Aragona, that the agenda for the November 5th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted as presented. Any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Any declarations of conflict or pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none. All right, so welcome. Margot, come on forward to the podium so we can see you. And also that means the camera picks you up.
Well, that's great.
So we live stream and we post the video on our village website. If anybody asks, anybody wants to know what you said, they can find that. So welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having us here today. I'm Margot Hallam. I'm the CEO of the Prince Smith Falls District Hospital Foundation. The foundation is the fundraising arm for our hospital, and so that's both Perth and Smith Falls. So it is tonight just to be here, just to give you an update of where we're at for this past year. Unfortunately, we didn't make it in front of you last year, but I think it's important that we kind of build that partnership, and we've worked with some of your service clubs in town, and it's time. It's time to spend some time. It's right during budget time, so I know you all are counting the pennies, and as I look at the treasurer going, I understand that very much. So you can look and I'll just go through it. So if I miss something, please stop me anywhere through this. Our board of directors, our volunteer board, they sit on our board for 3 years for a term up to 9 years. Rosalind Dowell is one of our new board members here, so she's here to critique me.
Oh,
Right? Is that right? Yeah.
is it Rosalind?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So our 2023-2024 year, really, we have been very, very fortunate with our community members, and we have been able to raise 1.8 million on top of the 2 million we have done for the MRI, and that's from a lot of support within the community. So where I look basically is our amount of donors. Our donors have increased substantially this past year, and I think part of that is due to the fact we do have an MRI within our area, and it's really made a difference. Sorry, do you want me to just go?
Just say next slide.
Do I go next?
See them.
Next. It's all kind of wonky here. So when you give, you have the option to give basically to the hospital where you want it to go, whether it's a chemotherapy. We have our chemotherapy department, which is our medical day unit. It also does blood transfusions. We are partnered with the Kingston Hospital for those, procedures that you can actually have locally. Big impact on our community, so you don't have to travel. Even though you guys are kind of in the hub right now between here and Kingston, I mean, it does make a difference to some of our families, like if you've got to pull up and take them there. So you do have that opportunity to choose where you give, either at both sites or where you wish to do that. We also have our, I just lost my brain here for a moment. Dialysis unit at the Smith Falls, who's also linked with the Kingston Hospital. So we do have services that help. So we're 20 kilometers apart, but we're still acting as one hospital. Next, thank you. So our MRI campaign, just an update since we sent this slide off to you last week. We're right now just shy over $3 million to our 6.1 million. So we're creeping along. We've got some great updates happening within the new year. There's a new software program that is included in that $6.1 million that will be enhancing breast imaging. So you won't have to go if you do end up with need some more detailed imaging that's happening. You will be able to have that done at our site. Next slide, please. Sorry. So it's almost a year since we've had our first patient. Fabulous gentleman. It went really, really well. He was thrilled to have it. Just points for you we've had 45 residents from the Westport area based on postal codes. So that is, that speaks volumes. The MRI is actually it goes into the central pooling, centralized pooling for need. If it's an urgent, they will get you in as urgently. If it's something that, they decide that it might wait a little bit, the wait time right now is between 4 and 6 months. So it is helping the Kingston area for MRI, Ottawa area. If you're here and you want to drive to Smith Falls, it gives you an option. It gives your residents an option. It gives their doctors an option as to where to get them in as urgently as they can't get them into. So we've really seen the value based on keeping our care close to home. Next slide, please. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't come in here and have an ask. Something for consideration. It's not really an ask at this point, but based on your 2021 census, I know you've got 634 residents, and I'm going to guess that is just local residents throughout the year. They're not seasonal. So the increase of what you would have around here is probably substantially bigger. I know we live on Black Lake, like I mentioned, and Tay Valley, their numbers triple over the summer. So just based on your local residents that are here, if every person was able to give $5 per year, that works out to $3,000 per year. And you can't really put a price tag on healthcare. Unfortunately, we have to, and I know there's a lot of asks out there right now, but it would be wonderful if you would consider having care close to home for your residents. Some of the highlights, next slide, please. Some of the highlights that we've done this year is we've tried to really keep with community-based folks, and we've had our family fun day, we have our golf tournament. Our black tie bingo is just a little bit shy. This year, we're hosting it next Saturday, so the numbers are based on last year. So we do try to get out into the community as much as we possibly can. We're always happy. We've been working with the Lions Club here in Westport. We've had some partnership with them, and not as much as we'd like. We've kind of been working on numerous things. The foundation amalgamated, just to go back to give you just a little bit of history here. At one point, the GWM in Perth had its own foundation, and Smith Falls had their own foundation. I was with the GWM since 2010, and I've been fortunate enough to carry on since we amalgamated in 2021. So there's the history there, there's the trust there, there is getting to know more folks. For me, it was like getting to know this area more than the Perth area, I guess it is, just to kind of do some more outreach on this side. So we're thrilled to be part of your community as well. Please change. One of our goals and one of our strategies for 2023 was to create our donor recognition board within both sides of the hospital. So it's identical. When you come in, you will see all of the donors that have given over $5,000 on each board, and it's changed every year. So we're very proud of this one. We've had numerous compliments over the fact that we're honoring both sides. So that has been one of our great goals. So, we look at it and how do we invest in our community's health any way you possibly can. We have other ways that you can support us, that we'd like to get the message out. We have a 50-50. You can be a monthly donor. You can put us in your will, but anything that you are doing, you are supporting your hospital. You're supporting your community hospital. So it is important. And we hope you consider us as one of your choices this year. And if not, I'll come back next year and give you our highlights of what we've done this past year. So hopefully we'll become a familiar face at your council. And I'm not sure, were you able to do the video link for the MR just to give you a piece? And I encourage you, if anyone is interested, get a tour of the MRI outside of being a patient. We'd be happy to host you to come in and take a look and meet the doc and just come and have, anybody on your staff, whatever, we can set it up and you can come and take a look. So you look at it a different way when you're going there, when you're not sick than when you are sick. So
That's a good idea.
When this is finished, if my time is still good, I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, she's just trying to get the video up for you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Is it on your website by chance?
I don't know if it's up there. It could be. If not, I can send it and you can look at it your own convenience.
Well, she hunts for it. Well, Kim hunts for it. I'm sorry,
Yes.
not she, that's
No.
not their Kim. So I'm so glad you're here, because I spend a significant amount of time at county's council. And of course, the most conversation we have is about the Brockville Hospital. We had quite a long debate today. I am not the least bit shy about putting my hand up and saying, you know, we're in the Northwest and our hospital is Perth Smith Falls, or the default is, and I say that respectfully,
Yes, absolutely.
Kingston.
Yep,
So I'm glad you're here, and I'm gonna share with you both. I don't think that there's in my opinion, not speaking as mayor, but as a resident of the village, I don't think there's enough exposure to the work that you two are doing in the village. I've dropped that. I don't know what you can do to raise awareness, but, I mean, not many people are gonna watch this video.
Right, fair enough.
And, so I just, because I get from Kingston, you know, they have incredible work happening, and probably because most of Legion Grenville is Brockville centric. I just share that with you, not by way of a complaint, but by way of encouragement.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that input. So we are shifting a little bit for this final year of our campaign, so we know we have work to do.
Yeah.
I
I didn't see anybody local on your board. Now, it was a
No.
small photo. And so, you know, that would be a small suggestion, but if there's somebody as a Westport resident who's also part of your foundation board,
Absolutely.
it's just, I'm blue sky gazing while she's doing this.
Perfect, and if you can't find it, like I said, but I totally agree with you. We would love to have somebody within this area on our board, and
Yeah.
again, with Rosalind joining us at this
Yeah.
point, it's one that it's perfect timing. If you know of anybody that might be interested, please share my contact information. I'd love to hear from them.
Or the whole council as well. They
Or the
would
whole
take care of
council,
that.
anybody that might have the time, like it's
Yeah.
very difficult, a lot of people are busy, younger
Yeah.
folks are busy with kids and whatever, not making excuses, but I value your input, and I think you're totally correct. We can't compete with Kingston, but I can tell you that possibly before you head to Kingston, or if you have to triaged out, you're gonna be at either one of our sites first. So we need to make sure that we've got the proper equipment and getting out there. So I think you're right. There's been a lot of transition over the past 3 years. And we're working to make it better.
Yeah,
So
and we all
we're-
smile, because if we have to go to the hospital, I mean, you're always so welcome in Perth, and anyway, okay, we're gonna watch your video. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for searching.
Well, that aerial shot's awesome.
Isn't that nice?
Who knew how big it was?
I know. It's a great facility. And it's true, and I know, even with local politics, my husband sits on Tay Valley Council, so he and I get into, not really debates, he understands the issues that happen, but the government will support operational costs, they don't support equipment costs, so if we don't have state-of-the-art equipment coming into our hospital, we can't recruit the docs, we can't recruit anybody that's here, and when we look at one of the major economical, I guess drivers within our community is a lot of local folks from all around are working at the hospital. So I mean, it's something to consider, and Westport right now is growing like a weed. And it's one of those things where, what can we provide? How do we, work on that saturation of the folks that are coming in and where we're at? So, it's just something to keep in mind, and I value your input on the exposure, and I'll be thinking about that all the way home and how we can make present. So I appreciate your time tonight.
Okay, any members of council have questions? So, go ahead, Councillor Cardy.
So you answered my wait time and how many people from the village access, your service through MRI. I'm wondering how many MRIs a day you're able to, perform.
So right now, the unit is running from 8 to 4. Now, until we can prove that it has been, there's always that time frame. So if you're using the services, the more services that we have, the more folks we can do, the more money we might get from the government for operation to bring in another radiologist, to bring in another tech. So I believe, and don't quote me on this, the last time I checked, they can run probably 8 a day based on what type of MRI. So, kind of work that all out. So up at this point, within the year, we had over 1,000 people through the MRI unit. So, and I think it can grow, I really do. I think unfortunately there's a need, so I mean, it's early detection makes a really big difference in folks.
For sure. Anybody else? No? Well, thank you both for coming. That was very enlightening and important. And Denise is our treasurer, and so she was.
Should have brought you a coffee.
Thank
Should have brought you a coffee.
you very much. Be careful on the way.
Look forward to seeing you
All
again.
right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so that takes us to item number 6, which is the receipt of committee minutes. It's moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Card, that the following committee minutes be received as presented. The committee of the whole received the minutes of the library board from their meetings held on June 4th and September the 5th, 2024. And the committee of the whole received the minutes of the historical advisory committee from their meeting on June 18th, 2024. Any comments that you want to make in relation to historical? Okay, and Councillor Crapper is not here, so I'll just call the question then. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, item number 7 is a memorandum of understanding between the village and the Friends of the Arena. So it's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that the committee of the whole receive the report entitled Administration Memorandum of Understanding with Friends of the Arena, and that the committee of the whole recommends that council approve the MOU as presented at the November 5th, 2024 committee of the whole meeting. Anybody have any questions in relation to the MOU? Councillor Cardy?
Just through you, just one question. It says the village may provide staff resources to support quota. Is that sort of, the treasurer or the CAO's job, or I'm just wondering for some clarification.
Yeah, I'm going to clarify with the CAO.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. That is both, actually. So I can assist with booking room space if they need to have a meeting, and then the treasurer can assist with any of the funds that remain with the village.
Okay, Councillor Coleman?
Just a thought, one point that might be better clarified within the MOU on page 2 of the MOU, which is 24 of our package, clause F, regarding the funds. It might be worthwhile just to add in the note about any funds donated to the village prior to the execution of this MOU. I know it's implied, but just to dot our i's and cross our t's, it might be worthwhile to just add that in.
Okay, I don't have a copy of the MOU in front of me. Can you pull that up?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I thought we did put that provision in there, that
I thought I
any
saw it somewhere.
funds that are donated.
Anything that was donated previous is
Yeah.
covered in the MOU, and anything after is covered in the MOU.
It's under clause B. B there, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Samuel, you're, if you see it now?
Yeah.
Councilor was reading it right from his copy, so let's figure that out before it goes to council, because the intent is what you said, and if that's not what is supposed to be in there, we'll make sure that it's edited before it goes to council.
Good.
I got it?
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, just the intent is there. It's just the clarification is on, the words prior to the execution. So that's where I was going with that. But, just as a comment, I would like to say that I think this is a great step, with the Friends of the Arena, the team that is in Friends of the Arena do a lot of great work for the village, and I'm happy to see that we are actually formalizing the relationship, and I'm looking forward to more great work by FODA on behalf of, the village and for the arena.
Good, okay, thank you.
Just to,
You're speaking as a counselor?
if the counselor would,
You're speaking as a counselor?
I'm speaking as a counselor. I guess zero in on what you would like to see in that, on that particular item. I'm reading, the general agreement, B, any funds received for FODA prior to the execution of the MOU remain FODA funds permanently.
She was in it.
Sorry, I was in the F.
F,
Yeah.
should have memorized. Yeah,
Okay, so we could tweak it maybe and bring it back for council if it's required.
to the CAO for advice on that.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like some further clarification. We can do this offline though. If you have any ideas of how you want to change the wording.
It's just the addition of the keywords being, let me just check my notes here. Any funds donated to the village prior to the execution of this MOU.
Okay. So it's speaking to,
The donations before the MOU was
so
signed.
that's what clause B is intended to address. And so that's, I think, where Councillor Card was going with that is clause B is laying out the fact that any funds received for FODA prior to the execution remain with FODA. But are you suggesting,
Could you bring it up, perhaps? Yeah, we don't have the benefit of everybody seeing it.
it should be in your package.
Yeah, it is, page 24. Item F is,
Okay, hang on, we'll bring it up here. We'll let Councilor Aragona lead the discussion on F.
Yeah.
Can you make it a little bigger? There, okay, now staff can see it as well.
so this is funds going the other way. This is funds from FODA to the village. So that's a fait accompli in most instances.
Yeah, I understand the intent of that. I was just thinking that it might be worthwhile to be more explicit with the wording, but I understand that clause B sort of covers that, any funds received before. Yeah, if you want to reemphasize it in F, then that's where I was going.
Okay.
But, I understand clause B is there to do that, but I thought it would be worthwhile to actually just reemphasize it on clause F.
Sure. Okay.
Work on that.
Guess we figure that out. Anything else? You good?
Good.
All right, then. Did I read the motion? I don't remember reading that. No, oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's did read it. So do you want me to read it again? Jog everybody's memory? Okay, I'll read it again. Moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that the committee of the whole receive the report entitled Administration Memorandum of Understanding with Friends of the Arena. And that the committee of the whole recommends the council approve the MOU as presented at the November 5th, 2024 committee of the whole meeting. I assume everybody's gonna vote in favor of this, and if it comes back slightly tweaked at council, that's all well and good too. So, all right, then I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Terrific. Thank you. A 7.2 is the RVCA membership. So moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Card, that the committee of the whole receives the report entitled Administration RVCA Membership, Councillor Card Resignation, and that the committee of the whole recommends the council appoint Councillor Aragona to the RVCA board for the remainder of the council term. Thank you for putting your name forward. Would you like to say anything?
I look forward to seeing how the RVCA actually works and the extent of their focus. And looking forward to seeing how all that happens.
Sure. And anything you want to bring back to committee, you know, we'll be interested to hear what's happening with them as well. Anybody else want to say anything? All right, then I'll call the question before Councillor Aragona changes his mind. All in favor? Carried. And before we leave that though, thank you, Councillor Card, for your service to RVCA over the past couple of years. It doesn't require an explanation, but I want to provide some information that Councillor Card had a heavy workload from council, including as council is aware, many of the public are aware, the Police Services Board was stood up for the OPP detachment, and Councillor Card is our representative on that board as well. So just level out a few of the responsibilities. Okay, 7.3 is the Serenity Garden Project overage. Moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona. The Committee of the Whole received the report entitled Administration Serenity Garden Project Overage, and that Committee of the Whole recommends that Council approve staff to draw the additional funds from the cash in lieu of Parkland Reserve to cover the final invoicing. Any comments? All right, oh, Councillor Cardy?
Sure, I think it's, it has to be done. It's just a lot of money. It's unfortunate that this has happened, right? When we read this, we didn't know it was happening, and it's just unfortunate. And I know it's the way of the times with a lot of things right now, the cost of living, the cost of everything, but yeah, it's unfortunate.
Councillor Aragona?
Just one question, just to clarify, is, I know Fine Lines has finished work to date. Is all work by Fine Lines at the Serenity Garden complete, or is there any additional work required?
Councillor CAO?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. All the work is completed.
And we know that when it comes to budget time, we're gonna have to take an assessment, have a discussion on how to support that park next year. So just planting that seed with you, unless all of us are gonna be out there weeding and trimming and whatever. It's beautiful. It's gonna take 3 or 4 years for it to fill in, and it will just be drop dead gorgeous, but you know, we were lucky enough to get the bequeathment to get us started, but our commitment as a village will have to be in making sure that we maintain it. So just,
Just a comment to your worship.
so go ahead.
I believe it's finalized our donation from one of the principals in arranging for the village to get the money for that, for the Serenity Garden, has personally donated, him and his wife have donated benches for the park. So that's very much appreciated.
Very nice. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. That's wonderful. Thank you to everybody involved in that. And as Councillor Cardy said, it's just 2024, and glad that we have the park in lieu to cover off the difference. Okay, now we're to 7.4, which is the Westport Harbor Annual Report. It's moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that the Committee of the Whole receives the report entitled Recreation Westport Harbor Annual Report 2024 for information. So we have Mr. Chisholmore here with us tonight. You read the report. Results were concerning. Councillor Eric, and I'm not tying that to Mr. Chisholmore, but if you haven't got any questions, he's here that can answer them.
I've actually got 3 questions.
please.
But just a comment, obviously, a lot of the things that happened at the harbor were in direct relation to the LaSalle Causeway and what happened there. But I do have a couple of 3 questions that I want to ask through you, Madam.
Yes.
Chris, I know the boat is not renewing their contract. Just for clarity, is it that they're because of the LaSalle Causeway and the lower demand, or is it something in relation to the harbor itself?
Through you, Madam Mayor. No, Councillor, I don't think it has anything to do with the causeway. Most of those boats aren't heading up towards the Kingston area. They're primarily not going much farther than I'd say Jones's Falls, and going sort of to Merrickville the other way. They've added a couple of boats down in Dallas Lake in the Ottawa area as well, but I think their attempt to expand to the Trent Severn Canal took a lot of resources from them. Yeah, they've had some staff turnover and a number of other issues, I think, behind the scenes, so factoring all that together, plus the overall just cost of a vacation on a boat, I think that combination of factors kind of led to a bit of a downturn. I mean, they've had a phenomenal run so far on the Rideau Canal. It seems like every year there's more and more of their boats coming and being brought online. Perhaps this was the first year that we didn't quite see that happening, so it's gonna be really interesting to see how they go from this point on. Yeah,
So it's not really, it's nothing to do with the harbor itself. It's basically their own operational, issues.
yeah, that's correct. I would suggest that, you know, the canal, the locks, and they saw a similar decline in the boat numbers as well.
And if I may, my understanding is in the contract that somebody signs with LeBoat, they're not to take it down to Lake Ontario. They're not allowed on the lake water.
So they don't go through the
So
pod.
it's
Okay,
long way around to answer that question.
good. Second question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Chris, now we have 100 feet of dock space available. You had made a note, in the briefing, that there might be a way to repurpose that for people on the wait list. I was surprised by the number of people on the wait list, though. I thought we were at 30, but now we seem to be back up. Can you just comment on that?
Through there.
Mhm.
Over the course of the winter, I had called the wait list and got it down to about 27 people. But we just continue to have numerous people asking about the possibility of getting on the docks. And then we're very clear and honest with them in terms of the weight that the wait list actually is. And regardless of that, people still want to go on the list. We're not advertising it, and yet still people are asking and asking. So we keep adding them on, and yeah, I believe we're at 41, 42 people again from where we were before. So I guess it's good problems to have. It speaks to the popularity of the harbor and people's desire to be in the harbor. But yeah, it's definitely a multi-year wait for any of those who are currently on the wait list.
And follow-up question, with the 100 feet, you're estimating we could accommodate perhaps 3 to 5 boats in that space?
Yeah, I mean, that 100 feet, those little boats are still gonna come. It's all gonna be first come, first serve, or people that call and make a reservation. So we track those boats, like most evenings, if you walk down there in the summer, you're gonna see 1 to 2 little boats on the dock. Traditionally, in the past, those have always been the sort of the seasonal slips that get taken up by those 2 boats. Moving forward in time, next summer, those 2 boats would be just paying regular overnight docking fees. So in a way, that's good for us, because as it stood previously, those first 2 boats were the seasonal boats. We wouldn't make overnight transient fees until the boats 3, 4, 5, etc. So that, I think, is gonna be very good for us moving forward. But yeah, we also thought that perhaps it would be wise to have a discussion about the possibility of adding a few more seasonals from that wait list onto the dock, just to generate some more guaranteed revenue, in light of some of the decline that we did see in overnight transient boats.
I think it works better for the village both ways if we actually do that, because we address people on the wait list, but we're also increasing the potential for more revenue from LeBeau, because they're not coming in under the contract earnings, they're coming in under the regular rates.
So that was kind of buried in the report and it's on page 33, almost at the bottom, the recommendation from staff. I guess it's more of a request for a discussion than a hard recommendation at this point in time. And so you can see the staff recommend the council approve the trial of 3 to 5 more seasonal client spaces for 2025. And so we know that an overnighter, as you've already clarified, Mr. Chismore, that if the overnighters are there every night, they bring in more revenue than a seasonal. Do you have enough information to have that conversation tonight on adding additional boats, or do you want some numbers crunched? With some options, I mean, that feels right to me as well. So if we're open to the idea, could we bring back a report in December so that you know if they allow this many, this is the amount of revenue, and I think that Mr. Chisholm, he's nodding his head, yes, that's something he'd like to do. This was to float, because we've had many conversations over the years about seasonal boaters. And so it would be a report that says, so we can replace the 2 from LeBeau, right? So that'll be 2 off the list, and then the request is, should we increase it, and that's why I'd like to see the numbers. Okay, so we're all right with everybody, so this report is just for information purposes, except we'd expect a report to come back in December, and that way the people who are interested in a seasonal slip will know in lots of time if we're increasing the numbers. But for sure, we're increasing it by 2 because we're replacing the 2 that the LeBeau had. That okay with everybody? Barry?
Just a couple of points.
Go ahead, please.
I like the way that this is laid out, Mr. Chisholm has actually put a dollar value in lieu of LeBeau occupying that space. So it doesn't take a whole lot of insight to see that that space is worth a lot more than we're letting it out for to LeBeau. I remember when we negotiated the first deal, it was that kind of thing, we're looking for guaranteed income. But in my mind, basically, the performance of the harbor is based on the performance of the whole canal system. It's attests to the service and the quality of facility that our wait list keeps growing. And I don't think we'll ever reach a point where there is a short wait list, not by the way things are going. So in a good year, contracts and
Overnighters.
yeah, it's the overnight business that drives the profitability, let's face it. The seasonals are kind of as you said, a guaranteed income. So in a really bad year, 5 or 6 guaranteed incomes don't make or break it's a disaster. But in a good year, first come, first served is a pretty big thing that can be, it can make a difference just quickly looking there. Minimum $8,000 a year, so. And then I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was out for a tour the other night and I see that our harbor is full of docks from the lake again. Do we have any kind of, I know that last year it was a problem for you to clear space to get your operation going. Do we have any kind of do we require an agreement with these people, or should we? I guess that's a question.
Yeah,
That's our water lot, so.
yeah, through you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was struggling over the past number of years just to try to figure out whose docks could work. I finally have a contact for a dock moving company who do a lot of the work of moving those docks in, but there are still several individual docks who I'm not sure whose they are. And it's kind of challenging because I would like to know who they are and have some type of reference or contact with people in case there's a need or an emergency that, you know, docks need to get moved or whatever.
Basically, the docks, I think if they're coming into the harbor, it all should be identified right in the dock, who the owner is, so that they don't need to post their phone number, but they can paint or put a sign or whatever this dock belongs to. And then if you do have an emergency, you'd be able to get a hold of them.
So a couple of things there. We're providing direction to Mr. Chisholm to bring a report back with some number crunching so that we can get a sense of how many seasonal docks to increase. And then on the second piece, I think we need to have a discussion on, it's 2024, those docks have been going into the inner harbor for many years, since before I lived here. Perhaps it's time to have a cold sober review of whether that's something that we should continue the winter of 25, 26. I'd be interested in hearing from the harbor master the challenges. We don't take all the docks in on Upper Rideau. This was a process that we know the company who started it beforehand and brought them over. We've never assessed what risk there is to the village. Over the years, where they used to be tied up to the dock, we managed that probably 7 or 8 years ago, that instead they were moored as opposed to on the dock banging against it. But I wouldn't mind, some wisdom from the harbor master. Do other communities do the same, and how do they deal with it? I don't want us to change our mind just because. It just feels like we're not treating everybody the same. We only have room for, I don't know, what is there, 14, 15 docks in there. So perhaps by the end of, perhaps by spring, we could have a recommendation from staff on what to do for next winter.
Yep.
Is that all right with everybody?
Mhm.
All right. Very good. So, we're gonna just receive this report, moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy. I've already read that the committee of the whole receives a report entitled Recreation Westport Harbor Annual Report 2024 for information. All in favor? Carried. Terrific. Okay, correspondence items for action. The committee of the whole, so in front of you today, you've got the draft 2025 meeting schedule, and we do this so that you can look, see if you're taking a vacation to Venice, and it falls when we have a regularly scheduled meeting. This is your chance to say, could you move that meeting a couple of days or a week or whatever? Or I'm telling you now, I'm not gonna be here. So, everybody looks like they're okay. You'll have another chance to talk about your families and whatever before it goes to council, but we'll get that locked down. So the motion is moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that the committee of the whole received the report. The committee of the whole received the draft 2025 meeting schedule, and that committee of the whole recommends that council approve the meeting schedule as presented at the November 5th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting. No comments? Oh, go ahead. You're voting. All right, all in favor? Carried. Very good. All right, any notices of motion tonight? Any announcements? So we'd like to get out to the public, and remind council that our New Year's levy will be from noon to 2 on New Year's Day, the New Year's levy. And we're arranging music, and we're also gonna have a celebration of our, the business owners who have been in business in the village 25 years or more. I think we're calling it 25 in 2025. And staff are working on making it a really special day for them. They'll be invited. Our MPP will be here to join in giving a certificate. And I know that we have talked about this as a group, and we just feel it's time to kind of draw a line in the sand and thank them for their faithful commitment to the village for 25 years. So we'll invite the whole community. There'll be lots of food. There'll be no alcohol, but there'll be lots of food, and you can come between football games. So that was just my announcement. I wanted to get out there. Did you want to report on goals and goblins?
Oh, yeah, sure, thanks.
Thanks.
I think, the village saw a lot of great trick or treaters on last week rather. At town hall, we had, well, we were not sure. We think we had at least 150-ish, but we're not sure. But we didn't have as many as Councillor Card's family, that's for sure. But, I think that the evening went well, and everyone was well received, and people were happy, and it was great.
Yeah, it was a terrific experience, and we would talk to people, where are you from? And, the ones we knew, we didn't ask, but some of the ones we didn't. And, the village is just like a mecca for particularly families with young kids that want to have the fun of trick or treating, particularly if they live rural, where are they going to go? And I guess we want to thank all of the residents and businesses and churches and everybody else in the village who really put the dog on, whether it was, decorating their house or, making everybody feel welcome. Cause that's, I find a gent in the village most mornings when I'm walking my dog, and, we'll just shoot the breeze about weather and whatever. And he finishes every conversation by saying, thank goodness we live in Westport. And so, that's kind of the feeling that we had on Tuesday night. CO, did you have anything that you wanted to report today? I'm just pulling on my memory here before I go.
I don't think so.
Nobody else? Okay, any questions from the public? Any questions from the media? No, okay, thank you. So we're gonna adjourn. And the motion is moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that this meeting of the Committee of the Whole of the Village of Westport be adjourned at 5:45 PM. All in favor? And okay, it's carried. We're adjourned.